Okay, so this is our Dialects and Accents project by Josh and Tina. And this is just a preview of our project. Okay, so our participant was Will. He is 49 years old and he was raised in El Salvador. He came to the US when he was 19 years old and completed up to the 9th grade in El Salvador. And he has lived in America for 30 plus years. The ELOs are the essential learning outcomes, and the first one was communication skills. This is something that's really important in our field as speech pathologists because we're going to have to work with people that not only have accents and dialects, but also people with speech impediments. So communication is key to being successful in that. And for the creativity and innovation, technology today is connecting us in ways that were never possible before.
Yellow baby duck. He belonged to the fisherman. The fisherman lived in the little house by the bay. Every morning, children go swimming in the bay. About 10 limpy waddles out to the road to wait for the children. When he hears them coming, he begins to laugh, excited, waggling. The children always bring bread or corn for Limpy. He will nip to their fingers a peck at their bare toe. Until he's fed, Limpy never follows. The children down to the shore. He likes to swim in his own pond. It's a much softer.
Phonetic concepts. The first thing we hear is the word limpy, but we hear the M is omitted, which is an elision, and we hear lippy. For final consonant deletion, instead of rows and toes, it's pronounced as row and toe. Voicing, fuzzy becomes fezzy. For vowel reduction and neutralization, begins becomes begin with a more of a hard A sound. For alveolar assimilation and voicing, the becomes duh, which is very common. And for stopping, very became berry. Weak syllable deletion, waddles became wattles. And this is the interview.
How old are you?
49.
What is your country of origin?
From Salvador.
In what city are you staying in?
West New York.
What language do you speak?
English, Spanish.
How long have you been in the current city?
30 years.
What is your occupation?
Construction worker.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Grade A. No, I'm improve my English. Because people around me also learning. Yes, very strong in the beginning. Not because every language has accent. Yes, when I came to this country. It was hard to communicate, but not anymore. No, I never had a problem.
The first question was, how well do you fit into your social and professional world? Rate 1 to 10. His response was an 8. Being that Will has worked in the labor union for over 15 years, it does not require to go out of his comfort zone, so he knows people will understand him. The second question was, have you ever tried to change your language or speech in order to fit in? He said, no, I'm very proud of my English. He does not feel the need to improve his speech due to the fact that he lives in a heavily Spanish populated area, and this also shows how proud he is about his culture. Question number three was, how do you know if you do or do not fit in? His response was no, because people around me are still learning too. What he meant by this is that many of his peers come from a similar Spanish-speaking background, so they are also in the process of improving their English. So everyone's kind of in the same situation that he is around. Question number 4 was, do you think you have an accent? If you do, describe it. His response was yes, Spanish, and very strong in the beginning. He believes that his accent is only strong and difficult to understand him when you first meet him, but your understanding will improve as you get used to it. And I really do agree with the statement, because when I first listened to the interview and the paragraph, it was hard to understand at first, but the more I listened to it, the more it became clear to me what he was saying. Question number 5 was, does it bother you when people ask where you are from? And he said no, because every language have accent. He knows that Spanish people aren't the only ones that are hard to understand accents. And I thought this was a really good answer, because he kind of looked at the question from everyone's point of view. Question number 6 was, do you ever feel like you are being judged because of your accent? He said no, I never have that problem. Being that Will lives around other Spanish-speaking people and has worked with the same people for 15 plus years, he is not put into this situation often. Question number 7. Can you remember the first time you realized you had an accent? What were your struggles now and then? He said, when I came to this country, it was hard to communicate, but no anymore. His first impression of American English back when he was new to the country was tough to adapt, but after years of practice, he has got it. The next question was, do you ever feel like people do not understand you? If so, what do you do to help them better understand you? His response was no, because I have improved my English. Technically, Will has improved his English since his arrival to America, but his English still needs some sharpening. So his English is very broken still. Question number 9, are you content speaking in your accent? If not, have you ever considered changing it? And he responded by saying, I get my message across. He is clearly very confident in his English speaking skills and does not need to further enhance his English, because he gets by what he knows, and people do understand what he's saying. So he feels no need to change it. Question number 10. Is there a particular regional or cultural ethnic accents that are more difficult for you to understand? And he said yes, people from India trying to speak English. Will does not have a lot of contact with people from India, so when he does hear that accent, it is hard for him to understand. And And for our reflections, overall, this project definitely opened our eyes to the science behind accents, and we really enjoyed evaluating videos and hearing the difference between Spanish accents and our way of speaking. It was definitely eye-opening to see what other people have to go through just to get their point across when it's so simple for us. So I learned a lot from this project.